All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the truth hour with General Cyrus and Seti. Kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. We touching down on a real hot topic at this moment. We talking about the United States and Venezuela, the possible war in the making. We're gonna talk about that in depth before we get started. I want to make sure y'all get over there to Patreon. The link right there in the chat. You can click that link, get over there. We got some fire over there all the time. Don't hesitate, do it at this very moment. Also, kingseti.com online marketplace, official General SETI products, t-shirts, hoodies, DVDs, off the chain classics, African and Kemetic jewelry, and a whole lot more fire products. Check it out, family, and make sure you uh, think about becoming a member. General SETI, Sarah Susan SETI YouTube page, off the chain, exclusive material available when you become a member. And make sure you get a video a thumbs up, like it because you love it. Share it with your family and friends. Comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because you will get banned. You will. Okay, so now we seeing, an escalation. What's going on between the United States, Venezuela? Been in the making for years now. There's been many attempts on Maduro's life, probably the last 10 years. They tried to knock him off. I think they tried to knock him off with some drones and was unsuccessful, in doing that. Uh, and so, the claim is Maduro is the head of a cartel in Venezuela, pushing a lot of dope through, South America into the United States, which is plausible. It's not like it's not plausible. They've been doing that for many, many years now. You feel me? And so, but uh, we see that Donald Trump, is escalating the conflict, saying that they tired of, he say Venezuela is trying to turn United States into a dope fiend nation, trying to, destroy the United States by turning the United States into addicts and things of that nature. And so, uh, is his job and duty, to protect the United States. That's what he's claiming. Uh, I see the bigger picture. You see, the bigger picture is that the United States is in conflict, you know, indirectly, directly with Russia, China, and Venezuela is the largest, or has the largest oil reserves on the planet, to my understanding. And so, in any escalated confrontation with Russia, any escalated confrontation with uh, China, and most definitely they're gonna want to tap in to Venezuela, for oil. That's just common sense. And so, United States is most definitely not gonna have that. They're not gonna have that. And I don't know why people would believe that, they would let that happen. Now, when you look at it, it's almost a mirror of what's going on over there in Taiwan. But they don't feel that China, has the same uh, you know, have the same claim, that, we not having, United States in our backyard and so on and so forth. But you see now that China and Russia is, trying to lean on, maybe supporting Venezuela, which is not gonna happen. Which is not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna put them ships out there and it's gonna be a blockade and they ain't no coming through that blockade, so they can give up on that. You see what I'm saying? They come through that goddamn blockade, and it's most definitely gonna be an all-out goddamn war. You see what I'm saying? So the reality is that you got Ukraine, you got the war in Ukraine going on right now, and Russia is not is unrelenting right now. It don't look like they intend they're gonna bomb that motherfucker until they get what they want. And so, short of the United States or Europe, putting manpower into Ukraine, that right there, it don't look promising. And so, that could end up being a loss for it could end up being a loss for Europe, United States. And so they can't take another loss like with Venezuela. You see, they can't. It wouldn't be. They can't take another loss like that. You see, because Russia is feeling like they got the upper hand. That they got the upper hand over there. And so, with that being said, uh, you know, having Russia and China win in Venezuela, that's a double blow. That's a double motherfucking blow. And I don't believe they're gonna let that happen. So they can't, not in their own backyard, regardless, whatever people feel about, the United States, this, that, and the third. And we talking about global politics and what it really boiled down to. You see, and it really boils down to that you cannot allow Russia or China to have access to that unlimited oil reserves that they have in Venezuela. That's just all it is to it. You see, that's just all it is to it. And so and that's it. And that's just what it boiled down to. And so that the same thing with the Panama Canal. You see, you fighting for global control at this time, global power. And a lot of people think it's just cut and dry politics. It's never cut and dry politics. You know what I'm saying? Because power is, it's about maintaining and expanding power. Ain't no, either you on top or you not on top. That's just what it is. And it's certain things that you got to do to stay on top. And so, most definitely, because Maduro is he's rogue. Real talk. He's rogue. He would align with Russia. He would align with China. That's what he gonna do. Because United States didn't put sanctions on his ass and on Venezuela. So, they in a crutch right now. And China and Russia gonna offer him a olive branch that they'll buy, and Russia is really in the same predicament. You see, and I don't, it's more so, I feel it's more so China than it is Russia, because Russia really, I mean, goddamn, they can't really, they ain't even got the upper hand in Ukraine all the way. You see, they ain't even got the upper hand in Ukraine all the way. So I can't see that Russia would, yeah, I mean, I just tapped back in. Yeah, well, they is. They're gonna get theirs. It is. Now, you have to accept it for what it is. When you understand power, power is not a pretty thing. Cause you gotta step on a lot of motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? That's what power is. Power, you gotta step on a whole lot of motherfuckers. And a lot of people think it's all about just, some cut and dry, policies and shit. It's not that way. It's a lot of strategic shit that, a lot of dirty hands and shit. And a lot of dirty things that's got to happen for a motherfucker to stay on top. And so, most definitely, maintaining, power in your own hemisphere is mandatory. It's mandatory. It's mandatory, real talk. And reaching your hand over and people talk about well, that's what happens when you in power. You get to do shit that other motherfuckers can't do. You see, that's what power is. You reach your hand over in his arena, his sphere of control and power, and and shake him into he understand that you can reach him wherever he at. That's just what it is. And so uh Maduro, and we're gonna talk about that. Maduro ain't gonna last long. You can't flex like this and let the man stay in power. You can't flex like this and let the man stay in power. That's just not, it's not plausible for him because you a major flexing. You know what I'm saying? You putting heavy warships down there. And what you gonna come away with? You just gonna shoot a couple goddamn, little speed boats out the fucking water and shit. I mean, come on. You gonna do that? You could do that with helicopters. Shit, you can just send a few ships over there. But when you put a major flex, you doing a major flex like that, and you got, they saying that's a heavy armada down there. I don't know how many ships they got down there, but that technically, you ready to go to war. You can put a lot of your assets down there. That's war flex. That's a war flex. Yeah, Russia done for, man. Russia ain't got nothing. That's why Russia always, threatening with a motherfucking nuclear because they militarily, they dead. They already done. That's why they just continuing to bomb fucking, Kyiv and areas. They just gonna carpet bomb that motherfucker because if they could take it by 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 land, by the force of their army, they would have took it by now. And so Russia has been shown for what it is. It's all hype. All motherfucking hype. Russia ain't ready to fight no war no more. They done took heavy losses, and they flexing and shit, but they couldn't see the United States right now, and they know it. United States would beat Russia up. United States would beat Russia up bad. People, and I was telling people that long time ago, and people were saying, yeah, you can bomb the motherfucker, but yeah, that's being totally brutish. You just being a fucking brute. You just going, you ain't you, so you just gonna bomb and you gonna fuck the earth up, and you just gonna be an asshole. You gonna fuck the earth up, and so that's and people talk about nobody respect Putin. You know, he's worse because look what the fuck you doing. You see what I'm saying? Look what the fuck you doing. You fucking the earth up, motherfucker. Don't nobody care about, and some people look at him as a champion. I don't see him. He's just another, a despot ruler. You know what I'm saying? Ruled by force and terror. And so, well, they already said that Russia and China is doing a whole lot of bluffing. They all doing they doing China doing the same thing as Russia because really what it come down to it, and I seen a guy break it down like they ain't really supported Russia and shit. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why they ain't supported Russia in a lot of shit that's going on is because they don't have no confidence. They don't have no confidence in number one a lot of that, all that technology that China is supposed to have, they don't have no confidence in that shit. You see what I'm saying? That shit ain't never been tested in warfare. United States didn't been tested and been in war, goddamn it, for the last 100 years. And so, they soldiers is battle, tested and shit, You can't take no, and you can march and shit and do all that crazy shit. That don't mean shit. Motherfucker put on parades because that's the peacocking. When you peacock and you go out there and you floss your wings and your colors and shit, you go out there peacocking. But at the end of the day, You know, it come when it come down to hitting that motherfucking ground and going to work for real, that's something totally different. That's something totally different. And so, a lot of them planes and shit that China then stole the plans for, stole the plans for over there from the United States. Man, they ain't mastered that shit. That shit is like, yeah, they ain't ready. They ain't put none of that shit in no warfare scenario. You see what I'm saying? Not yet. So, they bluffing just like Russia, if it came to, and I still say it, that's why, United States is sitting over there in their front door now, because if they really had the power to get them out of there, don't you think they would have done it by now? And so if they gonna try and shit, even to take Taiwan, even to take Taiwan, that's gonna be a fucking battle. They ain't just gonna run up over there. They already done been planning and they already got shit over there, and that's gonna turn out to be a very bloody situation for the Chinese too. They got something for their ass. They ain't playing with them. Yeah, they let them flex. They flexed and did, the last time when Pelosi went over there and they flexed and shit. And you know what I'm saying? But that's a necessary flex for the United States and Taiwan, because they looking how they gonna try to come at their ass. And they're gonna have an answer for it. They're gonna have an answer. It's gonna be a lot of motherfuckers gonna die trying to take that island. You see, that just like yeah, in the China, yep, over there in the China Sea, yep. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of death to take Taiwan. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't already been digging in. You know what I'm saying? They know how they gonna come. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, they're gonna be ready to sink a lot of them goddamn ships. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they ain't gonna take Taiwan. No, they ain't. No, they ain't. They ain't gonna take Taiwan. They ain't gonna take 2 to 4 years. Hell no. That's too fucking long. They ain't ready because they know what you think the United States gonna do by the time, in 2 to 4 years. Shit, China and motherfucking Japan and already started building. Every fucking nation over there is starting to fucking build up in Japan. A lot of people don't know Japan was really the powerhouse over there. You understand? Before China. You understand? Japan jumped on China, even with the larger numbers. Japan had jumped on China and whooped their ass. You see what I'm saying? So they got a history of being a military giant over there in East Asia. So no, I don't believe it. I don't believe that China gonna try to take Taiwan. They're gonna end up. That's gonna be too much. That's gonna be too much, straight up. Because by the time in 4 years, oh hell no, man, they're gonna have that shit over there so militarized, man. It'd be suicide for China to take it. It'd be suicide. Real talk. It'd be suicide. They'd end up paying more than it would cost them to try to take the island. You see what I'm saying? It would cost them more, you know what I'm saying, to take it. You know what I'm saying? Then just, saying, 'cause what you gonna gain from it? To take that little island and shit. You gonna lose. You gonna lose a whole lot, you know? Yeah, but you gotta think about, Trump ain't just it's the military complex too. You know what I'm saying? They the one tell him when it come to that warfare shit, they telling his ass what to do. You see what I'm saying? Because they already been planning on this shit for years now. He ain't, they already been planning. They ain't about to do nothing no different. You understand what I'm saying? Because they locked in arms, real talk. Yeah, he could put a couple figurehead motherfuckers at, like head self and all that, but they stick to fucking together. And so if he want a motherfucking army, he ain't gonna go at all them motherfucking generals like that. He ain't, cause them soldiers and they respect they hierarchy, and so they not especially Trump ain't no military man. You feel what I'm saying? They ain't about to let him come up in there and break up, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And so they've been planning on that for a long ass time. And and if they lose, I mean, if they lose that area over there, man, it's really a wrap. As far as the United States as a global, superpower, if they lose East Asia, it's over. It's over. You see what I'm saying? It's a wrap. Because think about what you got Korea over there, you got China, Japan over there. Yeah, they leak, but that sometimes that's a trap too. Yeah, they got some silly motherfuckers, but they always leaking some shit. It don't matter what motherfucking Yeah, I see that damn internet. But yeah, but anyway, family, we're gonna talk about, we got coming right back. We're gonna talk about, what's gonna happen with Maduro and he's technically a dead man walking. He ain't gonna be breathing too much longer. They're gonna knock him off. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna put fear into Venezuela. They're gonna end up bowing down. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna end up bowing down, in one way or another. They think that they not, but again, the dominoes is lining up. You got fucking Taiwan, you got Ukraine, you know it's Venezuela, and so what you gonna do? You see what I'm saying? What the fuck is you gonna do? And so I think they ready to get busy. You feel what I'm saying? Well, they can leak. You got to understand too, Ray. They can leak information to see. A lot of time it be false information, though. You see what I'm saying? Just cause they leak some motherfucking information. A lot of times, militarily, they leak information to let motherfuckers get a hold of certain shit to make it seem like and becoming a whole different way. So believe you me, you got to be careful about leaks because a lot of leaks can sometimes be staged leaks. You see what I'm saying? We be right, black family. Get over there to Patreon. We got that fire. We coming right black. We got a couple more for the night. We gonna most definitely end with some fire. Believe it, believe it. Patreon, General Seti, KingSeti.com. Check out the memberships, like the video, and I'll be right black. Black Pop.